be art activities, and I would never have sewn, I never would have pleated 3 years ago. You know, and these have all developed out of the women's movement. And I think that's something that we can't really say anything about at this point because there's not enough time giving women freedom to develop anything yet.
They're talking about men's responses to the gallery, and somebody said, well, men are so worried about the fact that we're totally excluding them, and they want to know if we're going to exclude them forever, and we assured them that this is the way it was now, but we were open later on. In other words, you know, like, in other words, we're appeasing them so they won't kill us or leave us. And I never heard that on my responses, like, if I had known that, I wouldn't be here. And yet, the point is, though, like you, I was scared to say anything at the time.
The very first meeting where we were organizing, that there were a number of women, I won't say a lot because I don't really know how many, and I suspect actually it's a rather small number of women who are not interested in the feminist orientation of the gallery, because I remember let's announce that we're women, and there were some people who didn't have the courage. Now, I don't put these people down for it, because my feeling is that people who have committed themselves as feminists, as far as the gallery is concerned, who are committed feminists, that is, were perhaps myself not longer than a year ago, not in this suite. So my feeling is that one of the main problems is that there's a difference in speed of awakening among the people in the gallery, and I think that, you know, in half a year from now or so, that certainly they'll come around too.
Why are you so adamant that there can never be a man in this gallery?
Oh, I am.
That's a good
Why? Because the male art world is male-oriented, male-dominated, and I don't want to be under...
Why does that put us under his thumb rather than him under our thumb?
Because I think for a while we have to separate ourselves from the ruling class.
I think that's the point. The while is in our generation. Maybe our kids won't have the way to while.
Right. But I mean, I can't even think about it, nor would I want it, and I think our stance would be completely weakened if we did such a thing. We have set up, in a way, without these women really realizing it, a radical stance for feminism.
Not all women agreed, and not all women joined.
I'm not putting out for any more women. I'm sick and tired of fighting for things like abortion, and it's my ass to help these bitches out there who say, yeah, I want an abortion, but I'm not going to fight.
I mean,
no more. You stand up or you get out.
The more important
name, address, and the rest.
The more important, The more important is that you're asking people to be an authority.
Ride on my back or anybody else's,
your relationship.
and you push it. This is done. It took me a long time, but I saw too many women sell out and virtually murder other women. I'm going to pull my weight, but you're not going to tell me you're the same as me, because, honey, you're on the other side of my gun. You got to say it. You want to be happy? I'm telling you. Look, you can shake your head. Wait till I get my gun permit. Find out. I mean, this is what it comes down to.
Not everybody wanted to do the work.
Did you all really want to know about feminism? Did you really want to talk about feminism?
Why are you pissed?
Because you want to talk about feminism for 2 weeks and you won't even do the fundamental work.
Well, I feel like we're all going to study and understand it, but nothing will be done.
They haven't done it.
When they made political changes like Marxist changes, that everybody went around all reading books.
The people who actually formed and caused the revolution absolutely goddamn well knew Marxist theory.
All right.
I'd like to give you a little input. They have study groups.
Yes.
In China, they have study groups. They have consciousness-raising groups. They read theory. They read Mao. They read Marx. They read Lenin. And it is based on understanding theory and understanding their own oppression and linking the two together that caused the change. And that is the history of Western thought. And one of the things that you talk about my being angry, one of the things I'm really angry about with women is how fucking ignorant women not only are, but insist upon being. Yeah. It's like you say, how do I make change? And we tell you, and you say, oh, I don't want to do all that. That won't make change. And we say to you, those of us who are effectively making change are not ignorant. Those people who have ever made change in the history of the human race were not ignorant, and nobody who's ignorant will ever make change, which is one of the reasons that women have such a fucking hard time. Women are fucking ignorant. And we have to take responsibility for it and face it and accept it and do something about it. We are building support structures. There is a whole history of thought that helps us stop being ignorant, and we have to take responsibility to understand and change ourselves and prepare ourselves for a real task. Otherwise, it is total, unbelievable fantasy. It's like women's fantasies about being artists. There are women in the studio who do not have the slightest notion of what being an artist is, but they have this fantasy. They're artists, they're going to be artists. That is one of the reasons women are not able to translate their aspirations into reality, because they are embedded in remaining ignorant. And it pisses me off.
Conscious of the exclusion of women from art history, second-wave feminists began a process of historical revisionism that proceeds from the assumption that sexism guarantees the erasure of women from cultural acknowledgement. The practice of feminist revisionist art history continues, out of necessity, into the present. Not for sale as part of this continuum.
Listen to quietly reflections like a mouse. See the echoes? But that I frightened him when I put on my morning suit of strength. That should be heard. I, my mother, my mother, I, my mother, I, my mother, mother, I, mother, I.
It's a baby girl. Well, I'm sure that next time you'll have a boy. You know, I think a girl likes to take care of her small brothers and sisters. So, it's better to have a girl first. You don't have to do anything special to celebrate a baby girl, you know. Now, it's expensive to raise a first child, particularly when it's a boy. I wouldn't like to dress him in old clothes and things, but, well, it's different when the baby is a girl. Well, it's easier to raise a girl, too. Now, baby boys tend to catch cold. And, well, it's just harder to raise a higher species. You know, the boys are more promising, but you have to marry out your girls, you know. So, you know, maybe you don't have to worry about their education as much as you do about boys. I think a good moral education is sufficient for girls. Well, they naturally imitate their mothers as they grow up. Now, mothers these days are pretty easygoing, not very good, but anyway, the thing is to raise your girls to make housewives. You make them shy, young ladies, beautiful, gentle, wise, and above all, very feminine. Now, a girl mustn't be forward or conspicuous and an object of gossip. The most feminine woman, I'm telling you, is the most ordinary, has nothing special, either good or bad to talk about.
When I graduated from graduate school, I proceeded to look for a job because I had not been able to find a job, although I had applied at 500 schools for teaching positions. I received approximately 500 rejections. So I decided to come to New York and go door to door looking for any kind of job. Someone suggested that I try Time Life and to apply for a job as a picture researcher. I went to the Time Life building, and the personnel office was willing to see me because they saw that I had Yale University on my application, that I had graduated from Yale University. While I was waiting to be interviewed, I was sitting in the front office, and a number of women came in looking for secretarial positions. The white women that came in looking for secretarial positions were told to fill out an application, and they were told that after they turned in the application, they would be notified if a position came available, and that, you know, if they were interested in their qualifications. Any non-white woman who walked in, Hispanic women or black women, I did not see any Asian women come in looking for jobs at the time, were told that there were no positions available. They were not given applications. They were just told point blank, we have no positions available, and the women would leave. I eventually was interviewed, and I was told that I would not be considered unless I came in with a slide projector.
And I am saying that art is not just what Michelangelo did or Leonardo da Vinci, you see what I mean? And that's where I have my big problem, because as a feminist black woman, I bring into the feminist movement the culture of black women, which many white women are not able to accept, because there is this feeling in the art world and in the art scene that art is white. Of course, the men think it's all white men, but now that we have the feminist movement in, the white women are saying, well, art it's still white. Now, they haven't said it's not. But now it's white women too. Well, hell, I'm not a white woman, you know what I mean? So where the hell do I come in? So there's part of my disillusion.
The process of identifying themselves as women included identifying the differences between them. In the United States of the 1970s, these differences emerged along lines drawn according to race and class, between the lesbians and the non-lesbians, and according to the political ideas of the radicals versus those of the reformists. Some artists sought to situate female experience in the realm of the universal, where they too could communicate with and through metaphor. For the lesbians, the simple act of self-identification, of declaring themselves lesbian, of breaking the silence, of challenging the assumption that women belong with and exist for men, was a historically significant step in the progressive direction toward female autonomy. Some of the visual strategies and conceptual practices introduced during the 70s are being mined and even unconsciously repeated by gallery artists in the present. The feminist art movement of the 1970s was far from a unified front. Its participants disagreed as to what relationship existed or could exist between feminism and art. In fact, they neither agreed on the meaning of art or on the meaning of feminism, much less on the link between the two. I think the participants in the feminist art movement agreed on only one point: that the history of art's production, distribution, and critical reception was embedded in sexism. This was an extraordinary insight, the consequences of which are still to come.